channel. I am here today to do my year in books for 2013. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to show you / tell you the books that I read in 2013 and tell you what my rating for those books are. I've broken it down into months and I'm just going to get into it because I think I've read about 70-ish books. I'm also planning on doing a series of mini reviews for all of the books that I've read in 2013, so if you're interested in that, then hopefully I will be getting around to doing that soon as well. Thank you. Okay. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it, starting with January. In January, I only read one book, and that is Push by Sapphire. I rated this book a 3 out of 5. That was the first book that I read in 2013. For February, I started off the month with Beautiful Creatures by Kami Garcia and Margaret Stohl, and I rated this book a 5 out of 5. Next, I read Beautiful Darkness, which is the second book in the Castor Chronicles series, and I rated this book a 5 out of 5 as well. Next book I read was How to Tell If Your Cat is Plotting to Kill You, and this is a book that was released by The Oatmeal, and I rated this a 4 out of 5. It is pretty funny if you are a cat person, which I am. And finally, in the month of February, I read Is Everyone Hanging Out Without Me and Other Concerns by Mindy Kaling, and I rated this a 4 out of 5 stars because I love her. Moving on now to March, I started off the month with Beautiful Chaos by Kami Garcia and Margaret Stohl, the third book in the Castor Chronicles series. I gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars. The series really went downhill after the second book for me. I did not enjoy this at all. After that book, I read Warm Bodies by Isaac Marion, and I rated this book a 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved this book so much. It's on my top 13 of 2013. If you haven't seen that video, I will link it down below. Then I read The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, another 5 out of 5. This book is just amazing. Another book on my top 13 for 2013. After that, I read The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved this book so much, and I definitely recommend it for anybody who hasn't already gotten into Tolkien. Just fantastic. Finally, in the month of March, I read Cinder. 5 out of 5 stars, obviously. Another one of my top 13 of 2013. This book blew my mind. I friggin' loved it so much. Moving on to April, I started off the month with The Duff by Cody Keplinger. I love this book. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. A great contemporary read for sure. I would definitely recommend this one. Another one on my top 13 of 2013. After that, I read 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it and definitely recommend. There's a movie coming out about this soon, so keep your eyes out for that. After that, I read Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins, and I rated this one a 4 out of 5 as well. Great contemporary book. Then I read Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll, which is a classic, and I did really enjoy this book, even though it was super duper weird, but I still gave it a 4 out of 5 stars because I kind of like weird. Next, I read The Magician's Nephew by C.S. Lewis, which is the first book in the Chronicles of Narnia series. Thought this book was okay. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. Then I read The Tiny Book of Tiny Stories, which I so much enjoyed. Much enjoyed. Love this book. It is adorable. Haven't read it yet, you should for sure read it. I gave it a 5 out of 5. Then finally, in the month of April, I read City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. It definitely didn't live up to the expectations I had for it, but I still did really enjoy it. Next up is May, and I started with City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare, which I rated a 4 out of 5. Another one that didn't quite live up to my expectations. And up to this point, the series was just kind of meh for me. Then I read The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants by Anne Brashares, which I really enjoyed. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. And this is the first time I've ever read this, surprisingly enough, but I did really like it. Then I read Scarlet by Marissa Meyer, which is the second book to Cinder in the Lunar Chronicles, and I absolutely love this. 5 out of 5 stars for sure. And then I read Eleanor Park by Rainbow Rowell. Another amazing book, another 5 out of 5. My first experience with Rainbow Rowell, and I love her. Moving on to June, I started with Safe Haven by Nicholas Sparks. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. This is one of the better Nicholas Sparks books that I've read, and I really enjoyed it. Then I read The Maze Runner by James Dashner, which I friggin' loved. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. Fantastic book. The Second Summer of the Sisterhood by Anne Brashares, which is second to The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. I didn't like this one as much as the first. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, but I still enjoyed it. Then I read The Program by Suzanne Young, and I absolutely love this book. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, and I'm really looking forward to reading the rest of the books in the series whenever they come out. The Lonely Hearts Club by Elizabeth Eulberg, and I wasn't expecting to like this book, but I actually really did enjoy it, and I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. So it was a cute contemporary read. And then the last book that I read in the month of June was Animal Farm by George Orwell, and I hated this book. I gave it a 2 out of 5, and that was me being nice. I didn't like it. It was so... I didn't understand anything that happened in this book.
Russian Revolution.
I hate it. Okay, moving on to July. I started off the month with Divergent, which is my new all-time favorite book. I absolutely love this. 5 out of 5 stars. So much love. So much love. I can't even deal. Next, I read 2 novellas. The first one, it was Free For by Veronica Roth, which is a Divergent novella, and I rated this 4 out of 5 stars. Then I read The Queen's Army by Marissa Meyer, which I rated 5 out of 5 stars, which is a novella for the Lunar Chronicles. And then I read Silver Linings Playbook by Matthew Quick. I really enjoyed this. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I loved it, and I loved the movie as well. And then I read The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan, which of course I gave a 5 out of 5 stars. Amazing. Loved it. Amazeballs. And right after that one, of course, I read The Sea of Monsters by Rick Riordan, and I gave this one a 4 out of 5 because it wasn't as good as the first one, but it was still really, really good. Next, I read a book on my iPad, so I don't have a physical copy, but that was Pivot Point by Cassie West, which I absolutely loved. I'm so excited for the new one to come out. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. Then I finished off the Castor Chronicles by reading Beautiful Redemption, which I gave a 3 out of 5 stars. Like I said, the first 2 books were amazing, and the last 2 books were just kind of okay. Not my favorite, but altogether it was a decent series. Then I read Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs, which I gave a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this book. It wasn't as creepy as I thought it would be, which was a good thing. I really liked it. And then finally, in the month of July, I read The Titan's Curse by Rick Riordan, which is the 3rd book in the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series. This is my favorite one out of the series for sure. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it. Then in August, I read The Battle of the Labyrinth by Rick Riordan, which is the 4th book in the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series, and I gave this one a 5 out of 5 as well. This is Jeff's favorite. And then I read The Last Olympian by Rick Riordan, and this is the final book in the Percy Jackson and Olympian series, which I gave a 5 out of 5. It was a fantastic conclusion to the series. Then finally, in the month of August, I read Insurgent by Veronica Roth, and of course, I love this book. 5 out of 5 stars. Look how fancy my copy is. Fancy. Then in September, I read the first 9 books in the Walking Dead graphic novels, and I love them. I gave the first one a 3 out of 5, the second one 4 out of 5, and then from there on, they were all 5 out of 5s. Then I read City of Glass by Cassandra Clare, and this is the 3rd book in the Mortal Instruments series. I really enjoyed this one so much more than the first 2. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. Then I read another graphic novel, which I don't have a physical copy of, but I read the first volume of Why the Last Man, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. Then unfortunately, I read The Wild Girl by Kate Forsyth, and I gave this a 1 out of 5. This was the worst book. I hated it so much.
The road.
This is my road. It was the worst. So boring. So boring. Can't even. I'm not gonna lie, it was bad. Then I read The Scorched Trials by James Dashner, which is the 2nd book in the Maze Runner trilogy, and I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. Definitely not as good as the first one, but I still did enjoy it. Next, I read another novella for the Divergent series, which was The Transfer, and I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars because I love Veronica Roth and I love that series. Then I read The Truth About Forever by Sarah Dessen, and I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. This was my first Sarah Dessen book ever, and I friggin' loved it so much. Moving on to October, I read Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. I rated this a 4 out of 5 stars, but now thinking back, I feel like it's more of a 3.5. This book was so hyped up, and I just really don't know why. I didn't really enjoy it as much as everyone else did, unfortunately. Then I read Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, and this book was obviously a 5 out of 5 stars. It was so amazing. I just love everything about Rainbow Rowell and her books. Just loved it. Then I reread Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone by J.K. Rowling, and of course 5 out of 5 stars. I was just really in a Harry Potter mood, and this was exactly what I needed.
Harry Potter was exactly what you needed for your Harry Potter mix?
Yep.
That doesn't make any sense.
I know, believe it. Next book I read was Anna Dressed in Blood by Kendar Blake. I loved this book. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. This one is also in my top 13 for 2013. It's just such a creepy, yet not too creepy book. I really enjoyed it. Then, moving on to November, the first book I read in November was Allegiant by Veronica Roth. Love this book. 5 out of 5 stars. I love this series. One of my all-time favorites for sure. I just loved it so much. Then I read Amy and Roger's Epic Detour by Morgan Matson. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. It was a fantastic contemporary, and it was really cute and an easy read, and I definitely recommend it. Then I read The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky, which I gave a 4 out of 5 stars as well. Another really cute contemporary, a very different contemporary. So if you're looking for something that's different, then I definitely recommend this. Then I read The Death Cure by James Dashner, which is the third and final book in the Maze Runner trilogy. I thought that this was a pretty good conclusion to the series. I gave it a 4 to 5 stars, and I did really enjoy it. This Lullaby by Sarah Dessen, and I loved this book. I thought it was so fantastic. I just really loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. And then finally, in December, I read Legend by Marie Lu, and I gave this a 4 to 5 stars. Once again, a book that's been very hyped up, and I didn't think it quite lived up to the amount of hype, but I definitely still really loved it. Then I read The Gift by Cecilia Ahern, which I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. This was my Christmas book read for the month of December, and it was only just kind of okay. Then I read The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey, which I absolutely loved. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. Also on my top 13 of 2013. If you haven't read this book yet, you definitely should. It's fantastic. Lock and Key by Sarah Dessen. I gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars because, I don't know, it just didn't, for me, it didn't compare to the other Sarah Dessen books that I've read this year, and I just thought that it was okay. I read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe by C.S. Lewis. I gave this a 4 to 5 stars. It was so cute. The only reason it didn't get a 5 is because I already knew everything that happened, so I guess I kind of ruined the book by watching the movie first many times, but I still really enjoyed it. And then the final book is Dash and Lily's Book of Dares. This book is another 3 out of 5 for me. It's just kind of okay. I don't know. I guess I didn't end the year with a bang. That would be the last one that I'll read in 2013. So altogether, that is 70 books that I read this year, and I'm really happy with that. And I think I had a pretty good reading year for the books that I actually read. I really loved the majority of them, so yay! Those are all of my books that I read in 2013. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like what you see, please subscribe, and I hope to see you guys again soon. Bye! Later days! I gave it a... What?
It was good.
What? Being nice. I just... What?
2 out of 5?
Yeah, I didn't like it. It was so...
Classic. Russian Revolution.
I hate it. Jeff's in the background.
Hopefully the author doesn't watch your videos.
That was sent to me for review, too.
Ooh. 4?
That's what you gave it.
No.
Oh, my God. Ooh.
Text.
No. Look. Sending me Boxing Day deals.
Who?
Look. It's an online store that has brand name stuff for cheap prices. Duh. Don't get her started. I'm almost done.
I'm not doing anything. I'm just standing here. She wants to play. It's not my fault. Friggin' loved it.
Friggin' loved it.